Imagine a quiet morning. The sun is soft, the air smells like coffee. You sit down with a warm piece of toast. Picture an early, peaceful day. The sunshine feels gentle and you notice the coffee aroma around you. You relax with a hot slice of bread. You pick up a butter knife. Slowly, you spread butter over the surface. It melts into the bread, filling every corner. You take a small knife for butter. Carefully, you move the butter on top of the bread until it covers each spot. It sinks in, reaching every edge. It is simple, predictable, just right, unlike most things in life. It feels easy, expected, and perfectly fine. This is different from how life usually goes. Things do not always spread this way. Sometimes they stretch too thin. Ever tried spreading butter when there is not enough? Things do not always go smoothly like that. Sometimes they become too scarce. Have you ever tried to put butter on toast when you do not have enough? It rips the bread. It does not cover everything. It does not feel right. It tears the toast. It leaves parts uncovered. It feels wrong somehow. Meet Dave. He's always running. 3 jobs, no sleep, always busy. People ask him for help, and he always says yes. Here's Dave. He is constantly on the move. He juggles 3 jobs, barely sleeps, and stays occupied. When people need his help, he never refuses. One night, he tries to cook. He cracks an egg, stirs the sauce, checks an email. Smoke fills the kitchen. One evening, he starts making food. He breaks an egg, mixes a sauce, and glances at his email. Suddenly, the kitchen fills with smoke. Burnt sauce, ruined egg. His dog watches, unimpressed. Dave sighs. "I am spread too thin," he mutters. The sauce is burned, the egg is spoiled. His dog looks on without interest. Dave exhales and says, "I have taken on too many tasks." You can say, "I feel like Dave, I am spread too thin," when you have too much to do. You might say, "I feel like Dave, I have too many things happening," when you feel overloaded. But where does spread even come from? Think of an old baker spreading dough across a table, making sure it is even. But how did this word begin? Imagine an old baker rolling dough across a table, trying to keep it level. Or a farmer spreading seeds in the wind, hoping they grow. Long ago, spread just meant to stretch something out. Or a farmer tossing seeds into the air, wishing they would sprout. In earlier times, it simply meant to pull something wider. Over time, it changed. People started using it for ideas, feelings, even rumors. Eventually, the meaning grew. People began using it for thoughts, emotions, or even gossip. News spreads fast. Fear spreads easily. Do not spread yourself too thin. News travels quickly. Fear moves from person to person so easily. Do not stretch yourself in too many directions. Imagine a person juggling 5 things at once. Work, school, family, friends, hobbies. Each thing gets a little attention, but not enough. Picture someone handling 5 tasks at the same time. A job, classes, relatives, friends, and personal interests. Each one receives some care, but never enough. Like butter on too much toast. Like Dave's burnt sauce. Like a tired brain at the end of a long day. It is like having just a small bit of butter for a large slice of bread. It resembles Dave's ruined sauce. It is like a worn-out mind after many hours. You might think, "I should not spread myself too thin. I should focus." You might say, "I must not do too many things at once. I need to pay more attention to fewer tasks." Spreading things is good, but only when there is enough to go around. It can be helpful to share your resources, but only if you have plenty to give. Where do you use spread in your life? Do you spread butter, news, energy? How do you use this concept in daily life? Do you place butter on bread? Do you pass around information? Do you divide your energy? Next time, ask yourself, am I spreading things just right, or am I stretching too far? Ask yourself next time, am I giving out my time and effort in a balanced way, or am I pushing myself too much? Balance matters, Dave says, staring at his ruined dinner. His dog just nods. Finding the right balance is important, Dave remarks, looking at his spoiled meal. His dog simply agrees. Imagine sitting in a quiet restaurant. The food is good, the atmosphere calm. A man at the next table pays for his meal. Picture yourself in a peaceful eatery. The dishes taste great and everything feels relaxed. A guy nearby covers his own check. Then something unusual happens. Instead of tipping, he pays for every table. The waiter gasps. The other guests freeze for a second. Suddenly, something unexpected occurs. Rather than leaving a tip, he covers the bills for everyone. The server is shocked. People pause for a moment. Then, smiles spread. One man grabs his wallet. "I'll cover that couple's bill," he says. Another person pays for the next group. Then, grins move from face to face. A man takes out his wallet. "I'll take care of those two over there," he offers. Someone else pays for another table. By the end of the night, almost everyone has paid it forward. The room feels different, warmer. It is not just about money. When the evening is done, nearly everyone has joined in the giving. The place feels changed, more welcoming. It goes beyond cash. You might say, he really spread the wealth today. But what was really shared? Not just cash, but kindness, surprise, joy. You might remark, he truly passed around his good fortune today. But what was actually passed on? More than money, it was warmth, delight, and wonder. Wealth can be money, but it can also be happiness, good fortune, or generosity. Have you ever seen kindness spread like this? Wealth might be cash, yet it can also mean joy, luck, or a big heart. Have you ever watched such kindness move through a group? You could say, "I don't have much, but I love to spread the wealth in small ways." How could you spread it? You might think, "I don't own a lot, but I enjoy sharing what I have in little gestures." How could you pass that on? Now imagine something different. You are in a grocery store. Normal day, normal people. Then someone whispers, "Did you hear?" Now picture another scene. You're shopping for groceries on an ordinary day. Folks around you are usual. Then a person leans over and quietly asks, "Did you know?" You do not catch the rest. But the air changes. A woman grips her bag tighter. A man checks his phone and frowns. You miss the details, but something shifts around you. A lady clutches her purse closer. A guy looks at his phone, looking worried. Another person leaves their cart and walks out. You feel it too, that strange, nervous energy. But why? What is happening? Someone else abandons their cart and heads out the door. You sense it as well, the uneasy vibe in the air, but what's going on? It does not matter if the rumor is true. The fear is real. It spreads faster than the truth, filling the room like smoke. It makes no difference whether that story is accurate. The worry is genuine. It moves through the crowd quicker than facts, covering the place like a fog. You could ask, why do people believe things so quickly? Or maybe, what if it is just a mistake? But fear moves fast. You might wonder, how come everyone trusts rumors so fast? Or could it be a simple error? Yet fear travels at high speed. Someone might say, "I'm not sure what's going on, but everyone's acting weird." And just like that, panic spreads more. A person could say, "I don't know what's happening, but people are acting strangely." And with that, the alarm grows even stronger. Ever felt this before? A moment when fear spread through a room like a wave? Where do you think fear spreads the fastest? Have you experienced this? A second when anxiety swept across a space like rising water? In your view, where does fear catch on most rapidly? Let's take another step. Imagine you tell one friend a small secret. Just one person. The next morning, everyone knows. Let's move further. Suppose you share a tiny piece of private information with a single buddy. Next day, it's common knowledge. Even the janitor gives you a knowing look. How? Why? Gossip spreads like wildfire, one spark and it rushes through a crowd. Even the caretaker looks at you like he's in on it. How did that happen? Whispered talk flies around instantly. One hint, and it takes over. Now picture a tiny town where nothing ever happens, until one day a man in a bright purple suit walks in. Now imagine a small village where life is usually dull. Then, out of nowhere, a guy arrives wearing a vivid purple outfit. By noon, 3 different stories have spread. He's an ex-millionaire. No, he's hiding from the police. Actually, he's a magician. By lunchtime, people are telling 3 different tales. He used to be super rich. No, he's on the run. Wait, he might be a performer. By sunset, the truth does not even matter. People just enjoy the story. Curiosity spreads just as fast as fear, sometimes faster. When evening comes, it's no longer about what's true. Everyone likes the gossip. Curiosity moves just as quickly as worry, maybe quicker. You might say, that rumor spread like wildfire, or be careful, once something spreads, you can't take it back. You might point out, that rumor raced through everyone's minds. Or, watch out, once you let it loose, there's no return. Think about it. Have you ever watched a story grow bigger and bigger until nobody knows what is real anymore? Think on that. Have you seen a tale get so large that people lose track of the actual facts? So, what do these all have in common? Wealth, fear, gossip, different things, but they all spread. Some bring joy, some bring trouble. So, what links these examples together? Money, worry, chatter, they're all distinct, but they all move from person to person. Some create happiness, some cause issues. Some things spread by choice, like generosity, some spread on their own, like fear or rumors. But one thing is true. Certain things are shared willingly, like giving. Others catch on by themselves, like panic or stories. Yet there's one fact. Once something starts to spread, it is hard to stop. The question is, what do you want to spread today? After something begins to circulate, it's tough to halt. So ask yourself, what do you want to pass along today? You are sitting at an airport watching people rush past. Some look excited, others nervous. Picture yourself waiting at an airport watching people hurry by. A few look thrilled and some appear anxious. A girl sits alone nearby staring at a crumpled ticket in her hands. There is a young woman by herself, looking at a wrinkled ticket she is holding. She breathes in, closes her eyes, and stands up. This is it. She takes a deep breath, shuts her eyes, then rises to her feet. This is her moment. The moment she decides to spread her wings. No more doubts. No more fear. This is when she chooses to open herself up to new opportunities. No more hesitation. No more worry. Spreading your wings is not always about leaving home. Opening your wings does not have to mean going far from where you live. It's about stepping into something new. It is about trusting yourself. It means moving toward a fresh start and believing in your own strength. You might say, it is time to spread my wings. You could say, now I am ready to try flying on my own. Or someone might tell you, you will never grow if you do not spread your wings. Or a person might say, if you do not let yourself move forward, you will never develop. Have you ever felt stuck, afraid to move forward? What held you back? What helped you finally take that step? Have you ever felt trapped, too scared to go on? What stopped you? What pushed you to make a change at last? Suppose you walk into a giant stadium, completely empty. Imagine you step into a huge sports arena with no one inside. The seats spread out in every direction. You stand in the middle, feeling tiny. Rows of seats stretch out all around you. You stand there in the center, feeling very small. Nina felt the same when she moved into her first apartment. For years, she shared small spaces. Now, she had too much room. Nina had that feeling when she got her very first place. She used to live in cramped areas, but now she had lots of space. The first night, she put her mattress right in the center of the floor just to feel the space around her. On her first evening, she placed her bed in the middle of the room to experience how large it was. Some people love when things spread out. It gives them freedom. Others feel lost, like they do not know where to start. Some people enjoy wide open layouts. It makes them feel free. Others feel unsure, like they have no idea how to begin. You could say, let us spread out the blankets for a picnic. Or, I like to spread out my books when I study. You might say, let us lay the blankets on the ground for a picnic. Or, I like to put my books all around me when I study. What about you? Do you like big open spaces, or do they make you feel alone? How about you? Do large empty areas make you happy, or do they leave you feeling lonely? Two best friends, always together, childhood, high school, even college. Two close pals, side by side through being kids, teenagers, and then college. Then one gets a job in another country. They promise to stay close. One of them finds work abroad. They both say they will keep their strong connection. At first, they call every day, then once a week, then just for birthdays. Slowly, they spread apart. In the beginning, they phone each other daily, then once a week, then only on birthdays. Bit by bit, they grow distant. No fight, no bad words, just life pulling them in different directions, stretching their friendship until it is too thin to hold. There is no argument or harsh talk. Life simply takes them down separate paths, and their bond weakens over time. Sometimes things spread apart so slowly you do not even notice until it is too late. Sometimes you become distant with someone so gradually that you only realize it after it has happened. You might ask, have we spread apart? Or someone might say, I miss how things used to be before we spread apart. You might wonder, did we drift apart? Or maybe someone says, I long for the way it was before we grew so distant. Have you ever lost a friendship this way? Was it distance, time, or just change? Have you gone through losing a friend like that? Was it living far away, too much time passing, or simply life-changing things? Imagine walking into a quiet bookstore. The air smells like paper and coffee, but there is no one inside. Picture yourself entering a small, calm shop full of books. You can smell fresh pages and a hint of coffee, but it's empty of visitors. Behind the counter, Gary sighs. He loves books, but loving books does not pay the rent. Behind the desk, Gary breathes out slowly. He adores reading, yet that passion alone doesn't cover his bills. One day, he has an idea. He puts up a sign. Free coffee with every book. One morning, a thought comes to him. He posts a notice saying, grab a book, get free coffee. Nothing happens at first. Then, a student walks in, takes a book, and smiles at the free coffee. Initially, nobody shows up. Later, a college kid arrives, picks a book, and beams when she sees the complimentary drink. Nice deal, she says. She tells her friend. He tells his sister. By the end of the week, 10 people have come in. That's a sweet offer, she remarks. She shares it with a buddy. He shares it with his sibling. By week's end, 10 folks have dropped by. By the end of the month, the store is packed, not for coffee, but because people spread the word. After a month, the bookstore is buzzing. It's not really about the coffee, it's because everyone passed the message around. Good news spreads fast when it is worth sharing. Positive information travels quickly if it's something people find valuable. You might say, hey, spread the word, this place has free coffee. You might tell someone, hey, let everyone know, there's free coffee here. Or, I heard about it because someone spread the word. Or, I found out thanks to someone who told me the story. Think about it. Have you ever told someone about a cool place, a great movie, or a funny joke? Ask yourself, have you ever shared a neat location, a fantastic film, or a hilarious joke with anyone? That is spreading the word. No advertising, no posters, just people talking. That is simply passing news from person to person. No big ads, no signs, just conversation. Now, picture a subway. People sit in silence staring at their phones. The air is heavy, the mood dull. Visualize an underground train. Everyone is quiet, eyes glued to their screens. The atmosphere feels tense and no one seems lively. Then, out of nowhere, a clown steps in. No words, no warning. He just starts juggling apples. All of a sudden, a clown appears. He doesn't say anything. He begins tossing apples in the air. People pretend not to look. One woman rolls her eyes. A businessman sighs. Folks act like they don't notice. One lady looks annoyed. A man in a suit exhales wearily. Then an apple falls, bounces off a knee, and someone chuckles. That chuckle turns into a laugh. Someone claps. Suddenly, one apple drops, hits a person's leg, and a small giggle erupts. That small giggle becomes laughter. Someone even applauds. A grumpy old man cracks a smile. The clown bows, steps off at the next stop, and the train continues. An older man who looked irritated now shows a grin. The clown takes a short bow, leaves at the following station, and the ride goes on. But now, the air feels lighter. Something has changed. Joy has spread. But somehow, the energy is brighter. Something shifted. Happiness drifted through the crowd. Joy does not need a stage. It does not shout. It just moves from person to person, soft and quiet. Cheerfulness doesn't require a big platform. It doesn't scream. It quietly flows between people. You might say, he really knows how to spread joy. Or, laughter spreads joy like nothing else. You could say, he really knows how to pass around happiness. Or, laughter carries warmth like nothing else. Where have you seen joy spread like that? A surprise gift? A kind word? Have you ever noticed joy float around in a similar way? Maybe from an unexpected present or a gentle compliment. Sometimes it is as simple as a falling apple at the right moment. Sometimes all it takes is a dropped piece of fruit at just the right time. Imagine buying a car. You are ready to say no. Then the salesman speaks. Think about shopping for a vehicle. You plan to refuse, but then the salesperson starts talking. His words glide like butter, smooth, easy, almost too easy. He talks in a silky manner, soft, effortless, almost suspiciously comfortable. This car? Perfect for you, he says. He leans in, lowers his voice. This vehicle? It's ideal, he insists, moving closer and speaking more quietly. Before you know it, you are nodding. Maybe he is right, you think. Suddenly, you find yourself agreeing. He might be correct, crosses your mind. That is Jack. He does not push, he does not rush. His words spread like butter, slipping into your brain before you realize it. That's Jack. He never forces you or goes too fast. His phrases slide in gently, landing in your thoughts before you even notice. People like Jack do not just sell cars, they sell ideas. They sell dreams. Individuals like Jack aren't only selling vehicles, they share concepts. They offer hopes. You might say, he is so convincing his words spread like butter. Or, careful, he spreads his words too easily. You could say, he's super persuasive, his lines flow like melted goodness. Or, watch out, he shares those lines a bit too smoothly. Have you ever met someone like that? A speaker, a leader, a friend? Have you encountered anyone like this? Maybe a public speaker, a head figure, or even a buddy. When words flow smoothly, they are hard to resist. When someone's speech is that effortless, it's tough not to go along with it. Lisa was always busy. Too busy. She said yes to everything. Lisa never had a free moment. She took on every task. She couldn't say no. Babysitting? Sure. Helping a friend move? No problem. Organizing an office party? Of course. She agreed to watch children. She helped friends carry boxes. She planned get-togethers at her job. At first, she felt great. People relied on her. She felt important. In the beginning, it made her happy. Everyone counted on her. She felt valuable. But then things started slipping. She forgot a meeting. She burned dinner. She was exhausted. However, she began making mistakes. She missed an appointment. She ruined her meal. She felt worn out. One morning, she woke up feeling like a stretched rubber band, about to snap. One day, she opened her eyes and felt like she was pulled too tight, ready to break. She sat at the table staring at her cold coffee, thinking, "Why am I so tired?" She looked at her untouched drink, feeling drained and wondering why she had no energy left. Spreading yourself too thin means trying to do too much at once. When you take on too many tasks at the same time, you wear yourself down. It is like butter on toast. If you spread it too thin, there is no flavor left. It's similar to putting butter on bread. If you make it too thin, you lose the taste. You might say, "I feel like I'm spread too thin. I can't focus on anything." You might say, "I'm doing too many things and it's hard to pay attention." Or he spread himself too thin with work and now he's burned out. Or he took on too many jobs and now he has no energy. Ever felt that way? Taking on too much? How do you know when it is time to stop and breathe? Have you experienced this? Doing too many things at once? How do you decide when to pause and rest? Now, let's switch gears. Ever met someone who makes everything sound extreme? Let's change the topic. Have you known anyone who turns small problems into huge ones? That's Kevin. A tiny inconvenience, a huge disaster. A small mistake, a life-altering failure. That describes Kevin. A small trouble, he calls it terrible. One slip-up, he acts like it's the end of the world. One day, he spills coffee on his shirt. He once dropped his drink on his clothes. Instead of wiping it off, he gasps, "This is the worst day of my life." His friend rolls his eyes. He didn't just clean it, he cried out, "Nothing could be worse." His companion thought he was overdoing it. Another time, he trips on the sidewalk. "I almost broke my leg." Then he stumbled while walking. "I nearly shattered my leg," he shouted. In reality, he just stumbled. But Kevin spreads things thick, very thick. In truth, he only lost his balance, but Kevin makes a small event sound huge. It is like spreading way too much butter on toast. It's like piling too much butter on bread. A little bit is fine. Too much? It gets messy. And sometimes people stop believing you. A small amount is okay. If you overdo it, it creates a mess and people might doubt you. You could say, "Stop spreading it so thick. It wasn't that bad." You might say, "Don't blow it out of proportion. It wasn't horrible." Or, "He always spreads it thick to get attention." Or, "He always makes things sound bigger than they are so people notice him." Have you ever met someone like Kevin? Do you ever exaggerate a little just for fun? Have you known anyone who does that? Do you sometimes make things sound bigger than they really are? Now, imagine this. A missing cat poster appears on a lamppost. Picture this scene. A flyer for a lost cat shows up on a streetlight. One picture, one phone number, and big letters. Have you seen Whiskers? It has a photo, a contact number, and large words. Do you know where Whiskers is? At first, nobody notices, then someone takes a picture and posts it online. Nobody pays attention at first, then a person snaps a photo and puts it on the internet. The post spreads about. Fast. By evening, the whole neighborhood is looking for Whiskers. That post moves around quickly. By nightfall, everyone nearby is searching for the cat. The funny thing, Whiskers is not lost. He is sitting on a neighbor's windowsill, watching the drama unfold. The amusing part? Whiskers isn't missing at all. He's relaxing on someone's windowsill, observing the fuss. Meanwhile, people whisper, "I heard he was stolen." Meanwhile, folks are saying, "Someone took him." Information spreads about quickly, but is it always true? News can go around fast, but can we be sure it's correct? Once a story starts moving, it takes on a life of its own. Once people pass a tale around, it keeps growing on its own. You could say, the news spread about before anyone checked the facts. You might say, the story went everywhere before anyone confirmed it. Or, rumors spread about so fast, nobody knows what's real. Or, gossip travels so quickly that no one can tell what is true. Ever heard something that spread about like this? Did you believe it? Have you seen a rumor take off so fast were you convinced it was right?